Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you on this Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, so it's Relationship Wednesday. We are going to talk about how we can better build a winning circle. Before I get into that, just a quick reminder. If you haven't gotten book number 20, Critical Mass, the link is in the description box or the post box, depending on where you're going to watch this video at. Uh, Critical Mass is book number 20. It's also the first book in a 6-book series on personal development. The second book in the series, my 21st book, I Am, The Power of Personal Declaration, is literally days away of being released, and you can pre-order that book right now by clicking the link. Buy the book now, get it at a discounted price, as well as get a one-on-one breakthrough session with yours truly. I am having a ball with these breakthrough sessions. It's amazing what you can discover about yourself in 30 minutes. And my goal when I sit down with someone for these breakthrough sessions, good morning, everyone. Um, when I sit down with someone for a breakthrough session is to approach it as if a lot of people who do these breakthrough sessions do end up working with me. But my goal when I sit down with them is not to get them to work with me. My goal when I sit down with them is to get to a point where they discover something in their behavior, in their thinking, in their everyday processes that they can change immediately and get immediate powerful results that will ultimately culminate in a long-term victory. And that's what it is. Obviously, we're not going to fix everything. Obviously, we're not going to get everything that we can get, but we can find that one thing that will make a difference. And we can do that in that time if you're committed, if you're ready. And I have a ball with this. So again, if you pre-order I Am, you get it at a discounted price, significantly less than it's going to be once it's actually released, and you get a free session, which in and of itself is worth $350 a breakthrough session. So that's out of the way. What I want to talk to you today is about building a winning circle by understanding the dynamics of friendship. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some terminology used by T.D. Jakes when he described three types of friends, three types of people that will make up your circle. I'm going to use the terminology that he used in describing the three friends, but I want to expand the concept and the idea of the dynamic so you can understand why so many people fail in having the right people in their periphery. Your circle is going to be a massively powerful mechanism in creating success or failure in your life. There's an adage that says you are the sum total or the average of the five people you spend the most time around. I've heard people say if you look at your phone and the people you get the most, the 5 people you get the most text messages from are probably going to be the 5 people you have that has the most influence in your life, and they are going to be a high indicator of how your life's going to end out. You're going to be the average of the 5 people, and that's extremely important. Why is that important? Because it has become human nature. It has become human nature for us to hang around people who look up to us, who stroke our ego, who always telling us how awesome we are. It feels good, but it's hampering. Why? Because you become the average of the 5 people you hang around. What am I getting at? There has to be some people in your circle that give you something to aspire to, something to look up to, something to tap into. So many of us are going around, and because we like to be told how awesome we are, we like to be told how great we are, we surround ourselves with people who lack the capacity to pour into us. Now, we can pour into them. We can kick that knowledge to them, and they like get excited about it when we talk. I have people I mentor, and they tap in. I have people that I pour into. I have people around me like that, but I also have people I can tap into. I have people whose wisdom feeds me. My grandfather, excuse me, told me a long time ago, boy, if you always, and yes, he said, but boy, if you are always the smartest person in the room, you're going to have a pitiful life. You need to find a new room. He always told me that. I don't care. He knew his own assessment of me was one that was pretty awesome. He knew I was intelligent. He knew I was smart. He knew I was gifted, but he wanted to make sure that I didn't get caught up in myself. So he told me, say, if you're the smartest person in the room all the time, you need to find a new room because your life is going to end up pitiful if you never, ever find someone you can tap into. Now, while he only had a second grade education, he was wise beyond his years. He has fed my soul more than I could ever imagine or ever be able to communicate. And so he was that person for a long time that I tapped into. See, it's not about book knowledge all the time. It's not about how many books you read. It's not how many books you've written. It's about someone who has gone a place you haven't gone yet, but you desire to go. And they may not have taken a road of academia to get there. They may not have taken the traditional, conventional road to get there, but they have the wisdom. They can tell you about the experience. They can warn you about the challenges, the pitfalls, the obstacles. But you got to have some people around you that have the capacity to pour into you. If all you're ever doing is pouring into others and getting back, you are awesome. Eventually, you're going to drain yourself. You're going to tire out. You're going to have these situations and issues where you're burnt. You've got to have somebody that you can look up to, somebody that sets a standard above the one you're living, somebody that challenges you to be a better version of yourself. Listen to me now. I shared a post of my oldest daughter earlier this morning on Facebook. She'll be 34 this year, and she had posted something on her profile and tagged me in it, and it was just best. You know, I'm consistently working to become the best version of myself. And my response was, keep doing you until you master it. But the thing is, in order to master it, you've got to have somebody that can show you what the next level looks like. You got to have somebody you look at and say, man, I'm going to live my life like that. And for so long, that was my great grandfather. That was that man that I looked at, man. That's the kind of man I want to be. Character-wise, that's the kind of man I want to be. Impact-wise, that's the kind of man I want to be. And so you got to look at it. Now, like I said, I'm going to use the terminology of Jake's, but I'm going to try to take it and make it make sense in today and how it's going to play a role in how you choose and pick your circle. See, most people pick circles, again, because they want to be praised. So you got a bunch of people who look up to you, but nobody that can pull you up. That can't work. Then you got other people who will choose people who are just cool to hang out with. You know, we having fun, but we're getting nothing done. That won't work. And so we've got to have a plan of how we're choosing. We don't need people who are all strong in the same area as we are, because that leaves gaps and holes in the armor. We want to armor up so that we can be as suited as possible to get where we're going. So then how do we do that? We must understand our weaknesses. We must know other people's strengths. We must also know where we stand with other people. The first thing that in the three different types of friends, the first one that T.D. Jakes talks about is the confidant. The confidant is what I would classify as the true friend. As my grandfather told me a long time ago, you're only going to have a few friends. Of friends, there are few, is what he used to say. Of friends, there are few. And he told me you're not going to have a bunch of true friends. Everybody that comes along will have an ulterior motive. Very few friends. And the way Jakes defined the confidant was with you because they were for you. It was always about you. They're into you, not necessarily what you are doing or they are into you. That's how he defined it. So a confidant is a friend that sees you and wants to be connected to you. Not just what you're doing, not just what you represent, not just what you're against, but you. They see the value in being a part, and see a confidant will go to the mat for you and with you. They will tell you the truth when your slip is hanging. They will hold you up when you're down. They will encourage you. They will be happy when you're celebrating. They will be sad when you're sad. They will shed tears with you. That is your confidant. And I'm along the lines with Jake's and my grandfather. You won't have many of those in your life. So when you have one, you've got to celebrate it. Don't take it for granted. You've got to cultivate it. You've got to invest in it. You've got to express loyalty through constant and consistent engagement. That's what you've got to have. And see, the confidant is going to play a major role in the ability for you to ascend, because the confidant is the one you can trust. So you got to have somebody, check me out, you can share your dreams with. You got to have somebody you can share your aspirations with. Somebody you can share this huge vision with that won't look at you and laugh, but say, hey, I believe in you. And they'll be praying for you, or lifting you, or sending you love, light, and energy to help raise you as you strive to become. You need that confidant. The next one is the constituent. You know, a constituent is for what you're for. They're not for you, or they're not really, it's really, with them, it's not really about you. It's about what you are doing, or what you stand for, or what you're working for, or where you're headed. You're headed in the same direction and have the same that they're doing, and they'll attach themselves to you. They'll work with you. They will be in many ways an asset, but you got to understand something. It's not about you. It's about where you're going. See, that creates a problem when you don't understand it. That's why so many people are frustrated with their friendships. Why? Because you got a constituent that you think is a confidant. What do I mean? I mean, see, a constituent, because it's not about you, they're not attached to you. They're attached to the movement that you're making. And if someone else comes along that is moving faster and headed in the same direction, they will jump ship because there's no loyalty to you. They're not your confidant. They're simply a constituent. Here's a problem that a lot of us have, is that we've got constituents that have served their purpose, and we're still trying to hold on to them because we think they're confidants. We're trying to make them fit where they no longer belong, and they're weakening the circle. Finally, there's the comrade. And the comrade is definitely not into you. They're not about what you're about. They're not standing for you. Has absolutely nothing to do with you personally. They're not with you because of the things you stand for, or what you are for, or what you are doing positively. They have one reason for being linked to you, and that is because you have a common enemy, whether it is systematic, whether it's personal, whether it's business. It is that you are against the same thing. I like the way Jakes defines that, because it gives you a clear understanding of the reasons people in your life, they are either there to be a confidant, a friend, an encourager, an empowerment, someone that's going to tell you when you're wrong and support you when you're right. You need that confidant, but then that constituent is there solely for the purpose that you get. You see, the problem is, at some point, whatever you are going for, you get. It's accomplished. And once it's over, there's no linking with constituents, and the same thing with comrades. See, the comrade is against the same thing. You have a common enemy of some sorts. It can be personal, it can be business, it can be systematic, whatever it is, you're fighting against a common enemy. And here's the thing, once the enemy is defeated, there's no use for the relationship anymore. And what you got to understand is it's okay. See, the problem is we've spent so much time in the box that we never look beyond the parameters of our periphery to see the possibilities and to understand that at some point in time, you will have to ally with someone that's not always going to be in your circle. Your circle is a dynamic force. And what I mean by dynamic force, it's powerful and it's moving. It's not static and still. What am I trying to get you to understand? You got to be okay with some people coming in, serving a purpose and moving on. You're trying to keep everybody around, and the people that you are force fitting into your life are destroying it. Build your relationships with an understanding of the dynamic that all things are evolving. You will have a few friends that are what I call true friends, what Jakes calls confidants, that are going to be there, that'll go with you. I mean, even when you are at your lowest, you've hit a low, they're there with you. You homeless, they're coming and checking on you, trying to find you somewhere to stay or letting you sleep on their couch or doing whatever they need to do. If you happen to do something stupid and you end up in jail, they're the ones writing, calling, putting money on your books, praying for you and advocating for you because you can't advocate for yourself. And they're the ones when you walk in a room and you share some information about something new in your life that you're happy about, that you are aspiring to. They are happy as you are when you're in the room. You got to pay attention. A lot of us are sharing our dreams with someone who will turn on you. Jakes even says that you got to be careful with your constituents. Because your constituent, because they're going for the same thing you're going for. If you share your dream with your constituent, they will desert you and try to fulfill your dream without you. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I felt that energy. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You told the wrong person about your vision. You sold them so good on it that they decided to take it. And so I don't have a problem with somebody taking it. So go do your thing because you can't do it like me. But if you are trusting them to be a part of where you're going and now they're over there doing it on their own, using your mind, your concepts, your ideas, your specs and everything else, that's a problem. See, the confidant is who you share your dreams with. Your confidant is who you share your worries with. Your confidant is who you share your hurts, your pains, your struggles, and your joy with. That's who you share. You don't share it with constituents and comrades. A lot of you are telling the wrong people about your aspirations. And not only are some of them going to try to steal it, some of them are bringing negative energy to the table now because they're not happy for you. I shared something earlier, and then I'll be done. I shared something earlier. I said most of the people that you consider haters aren't haters. They're not your haters. They're disgruntled admirers. They admire your tenacity. They admire your imagination. They admire your creativity. They admire your audacity to go after the great things. But they also can't stand it because they can't see it in themselves. See, that's the thing that happens when you decide to climb out of the box. That's why when you are moving out of a situation into a new area of life and into a new reality, you got to be careful who you tell because they are going to try to pull you back in because your movement, your ascension is a conviction of their mediocrity and they can't stand it because, see, you came from the same places. You had the same complaints. Think about your comrade. You had the same complaints. You fought the same systematic injustices and inequalities and all the things that you have been complaining that were holding you back. But now all of a sudden, you've made up in your mind that you're going to rise above it all. And now you're starting to make moves. And when you make moves, you disprove the argument and the complaints that were being made before. Now you are a conviction against their mediocrity because they came from where you came and you're making it. Rather than explore the power they have within to do the same, they would rather just simply pull you back in. Oh, you got to pick a circle. You got to pick it intelligently. See, we inherit our first circle. It's made up of our parents, our siblings, our classmates. And most of us grew up in religious families, so our church members. But see, the beauty about growing into yourself is that you have the ability to reform and recreate your periphery, your circle. You have an ability to sit up and decide who will stay and who will go, who brings something to the table and who doesn't, who's there for the wrong reasons and who's there to be an asset. You have the ability to choose and create your periphery, your circle, those who will have a massive impact on what you are becoming. Choose wisely. That's it. I hope that I was able to give you something this morning. There's a lot to be done. Look like we're about to float off any minute here in Houston. It's been raining all night long, still raining. And don't take much to float off down here. But hey, look, believe in yourself. But in believing in yourself, you also have to believe in your responsibilities to yourself. And one of the most important responsibilities that you have is choosing your circle wisely. Bring in people who can enhance you and who will be enhanced by you. Have some people around you that you're pulling up. Always have people around you that you can pour into. But you also got to have people around you who can pour into you. You've got to have the ability to re-energize yourself, to have some restorative capacity. It's important. Again, don't forget, if you haven't gotten Critical Mass, you need to snatch this up because it's the first book. It's my 20th book, but it's the first book in this 6-book series I'm working on. And if you haven't pre-ordered the second book, I Am the Power of Personal Declaration, you need to do that as well. I would love, because that comes with that one-on-one, that free one-on-one session with yours truly, and I'm having a ball with that. That is, anybody that knows me knows I love speaking publicly. I love writing. I love the things I do in group engagements, but the one-on-one things is where I hang my hat. It's where I'm just like in a zone. I see a couple of my clients on here now, and obviously I'm not gonna call them out, but I see a couple of my clients on here now, and they know what I'm talking about. It's personal. It's transparent. It's not about me acting in any way that I'm better than you. Matter of fact, one of my goals when I sit down with someone is to get them to relate to me so that when I share me, they can see themselves in it. I don't believe anybody's better than anybody else. I believe people make different decisions. People commit to different things. People head in different directions. It's about finding the right directions. It's about making the right commitments. It's about the willingness to go the distance. That's the place where you find greatness. And on that note, I'm going to get off here. You guys have an unbelievable day, no matter where you are. And I am going to get off of here and get to the next thing on my list. And we'll talk soon. As I always say, I am going to live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out. Have a great one.